I'm good.
All right, on the left side of your screen, we have Ed with Mono Red Painter, and on the right, we have Dave Kaplan with Eldrazi.
No, you don't really.
I played against Ed at this event, and we had quite an epic match. Eldrazi Mimic on turn 1 off an Eldrazi Temple. Okay, Lightning Bolt takes out the Mimic. That's worthwhile, I would say. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is in. We'll make a Goblin Shaman. Neat Token. Mox Opal. No Metalcraft yet.
Cavern Eldrazi.
Okay, Eldrazi Line Breaker. It's going to attack. Eldrazi Line Breaker, one of the new Eldrazi from MH3. The Eldrazi deck, I would say, is back in Legacy. Eldrazi Stompy, Eldrazi Aggro, whatever. Discarding an Ancient Tomb and a Mountain to Fable of the Mirror Breaker second chapter.
Sure. I'll make a treasure.
Okay, attacking with the Goblin Shaman, making a treasure. That is a treasure token that was just placed onto the battlefield. Great Furnace was the land drop, an artifact land. Another copy of Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Ancient Tomb does some damage to Ed, makes another Goblin Shaman. And Goblin Engineer. Okay. Building out quite a board here. Goblin Engineer will search, put something into the graveyard. Let's see what we find. With Goblin Engineer, you could potentially find cards like Phyrexian Dragon Engine, which is pretty cool. Chaos Defiler, pretty cool. Occasionally, you'll see combo pieces put into the graveyard. I see Ed has grabbed Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. Mandraw, thank you for the sub with Prime. 11 months. We'll see if Mandraw sticks with us for one more. Thank you for that. So Ed with quite a board here. Goblin Engineer next turn could potentially bring in this Ensnaring Bridge, which could shut the Eldrazi down. Line Breaker, the lone creature on Kaplan's board as of right now. Looks like Kaplan's trying to come up with a plan.
And if you have any more questions, I can
One card in Ed's hand, it looks like. That is Eye of Ugin. Sorry about the glare.
Line breaker with one float.
Okay, another line breaker. There's one mana floating, apparently, from Eldrazi Temple. And Endless One. X is 3. So a 3/3 Endless One. Sorry for the glare.
currently I could make it a 6/7.
I'm just trying to remember. I'm taking off like.
So they become 6, right?
This is just a
3/3. No chance. So this is going to become 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is a. So this is 6/3. This is. Yeah, they're both 6 things, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Huh?
Yeah. This one has trample. This one does not.
So I just wanted to make sure you didn't have.
Okay, so it sounds like Kaplan is swinging for 15 here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trample, no trample.
Trample, trample, no trample. Endless One does not have trample built in. The line breakers do. The I guess both players just trying to make sure they get this right. Looks like a chump block with a Goblin Shaman on the Endless One. That makes sense. Goblin Engineer will absorb some damage here.
Yep.
Okay, allowing the Goblin Engineer to die. Going down to 2. Did I have wrong how much power was coming in? I don't know. Discarding 2 cards. Reflections of Kiki-Jiki. And Snaring Bridge stuck in the yard. No way to grab it for now. That is a scoop. Eldrazi takes game 1. Big attack. Line breaker showing off a little bit there. Ending the game. If there were a way for me to, in real time, I mean, there is a way, but a lot of you are watching this later than when this event actually happened, of course. So if there were a way for round by round, the people who watch what you're watching right now, to choose which deck archetypes we should prioritize. What decks do you want to watch? What decks do you want to watch right now? If I were at an event and I was walking around the room choosing featured matches, what decks do you want to see on stream? You two commenters chime in. Goblin Wolder on the board, Eldrazi Mimic for Kaplan. Eye of Ugin was the land drop. Goblin Engineer. LH with an interesting answer. Decks with bling. Yeah, bling decks do get a lot of love on 90s MTG. Cow Panda says Painter, Cloud Post, Breakfast. Okay. Yeah, Cloud Post is hot right now. A lot of people are liking Cloud Post. Decks that were tested for 1v1, says Mr. Pips. A great answer. Chaos Defiler goes into the graveyard. And I don't know if those of you watching right now are familiar with Chaos Defiler, but this is really nasty with Welder and Goblin Engineer. Once again, the land on Kaplan's side is Eye of Ugin, banned in Modern. This card is kind of come back as a legacy staple very recently after MH3. It was on hiatus for a while. Eldrazi wasn't very popular in Legacy before MH3, but now it's quite popular. Cavern of Souls, most likely naming Eldrazi. Have you ever made a room tour of the stores you play in? Would be interesting to see, says LH. We post quite a bit of pictures in our Discord server. If that interests you, you should definitely go check that out. I don't do it often, but we post some behind-the-scenes stuff. Lotus Petal. Welder getting activated. Fairy Macabre to exile Chaos Defiler and stop that whole situation. So the swap does not happen. Lotus Petal will stay on the battlefield. Ed just confirming that. Yeah, Bifrost Games is a nice space. Game Storia also a nice space.
Three in hand? Yep.
3 in hand for Kaplan. Another Goblin Engineer. Okay, what will this find? I don't think we'll see another copy of Chaos Defiler in the deck. 710 with a question, what's the best mountain? You know what, 710? Magic players kind of have like a limited capability when it comes to assessing art and analyzing art and all of it. So we're just going to stay away from that for now. Just not a strength for Magic players, it turns out. Snow-covered mountain, the one with the pterodactyl. Yeah, maybe.
I wanted to hit it with a removal, but then I was scared where you were just start digging for everything. It was a really bad situation.
People are like Googling right now. Which version am I supposed to like the best for for Brainstorm? No idea what's going on. The Bob Ross Mountain, yeah, those are cool. Ensnaring Bridge into the graveyard. We got Ensnaring Bridge into the graveyard in game 1 and never really got that going. Hence, Eldrazi up a game here. There's a Wasteland, so 4 mana available potentially for a Thought-Knot Seer. Line Breaker.
I will go attack. Trigger itself. Kind of missed that trigger, sorry.
It's okay.
Not sure how it works. I think I have to announce when it's relevant. Like when it's damage to the ability.
Yeah, don't worry. It's fine. It's cool. I know what you're doing. So it's supposed to be a 3 on this side and then this guy.
Okay, so this is Monday Night Legacy. This is not competitive REL. So a little bit late on the Eldrazi Mimic trigger, but it has grown. Welder's going to try and swap Lotus Petal and Ensnaring Bridge, but this is after attacks. Maybe miscommunication here. Okay, so before attacks that happens. So the creatures are untapping because that was supposed to be before attacks.
You're saying
Well, with this,
the beginning
when
of,
you...
Yeah, okay, so before I actually...
Yeah, before you attack. So, like, you chose this guy to get pumped, then I'll weld it, and now, like, declare attackers, and then this guy can't attack.
Okay, worth noting, there are 3 cards in Ed's hand, so the Mimic can still attack.
And you have 3 cards in hand?
Yep.
So I can only attack with him,
The
who's a
baby,
3.
the 3, yeah. I mean...
Okay, Mimic will enter the red zone. 3 damage comes in. Snaring Bridge is nice, but Ed does have to keep this hand empty. Pastina, thank you for the resale with Prime. 9 months. And a hello. Thank you for that. $710 says I might be super basic and just get unhinged mountains. You know what? Get the ones you like the best. Screw what everybody else thinks. Painter's Servant.
We got playing Wasteland. I was like, you just have like a million Wasteland.
I did not hear a color name.
Yeah, no, you have so many Wastelands. Damn, dude. I'm throwing all your Wastelands.
Well, it probably named a color. I just didn't hear it. Sorry about that. What color is correct in name here? Probably doesn't matter that much. I don't know.
No, you have the dates. There's no way.
Mimic.
I believe you would have to attack for mana because it's
Wait, what happened? Ah, okay. So it's no longer colorless. Okay, let's get the text for Eye of Ugin up on the screen. Eye of Ugin no longer works. They have to be colorless Eldrazi spells to cost 2 less. Good catch there by Ed. So Eldrazi Mimic, not free. Not free. Okay, we'll play the Eldrazi Mimic kind of the old-fashioned way. Eye of Ugin currently shut off. thanks to the painter.
Alright, I'll go to the beginning of combat.
Looks like 3 cards still in Ed's hand. Beginning of combat, line breaker trigger. There is a welder available, but nothing really worth doing with that, I don't think. Line breaker will attack. Urza Saga, not too bad. If Urza Saga can start pumping out some constructs, I think Kaplan could have a really hard time closing this out. Is there a grindstone in hand? I can't really tell. Shuffling through the hand kind of quickly here. Maybe another copy of Urza Saga in hand. 3 cards in hand. Would love for there to be less, probably, if we're Ed. Okay, we're going to cast something. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Maybe that's the other saga I saw. Makes a Goblin Shaman.
2 cards in hand. I'll pass to you.
2 cards in hand, pass the turn, so the Eldrazi Mimics can still potentially attack. Line Breaker cannot at the moment. As we were starting this match, someone in the chat pointed out that there are some interesting interactions between these 2 decks. Painter Ayavugan, one of them that has popped up so far. Ayavugan specifically says colorless Eldrazi costs 2 less. So once Painter's on, the Devoid stuff and all of that kind of shut off for Kaplan. Unfortunately, don't know what color Painter named. That's my bad. But probably black or blue. Likely blue, yeah. It's blue? Okay, Wasteland goes out to the Saga. That makes sense. Going down on mana, though. Linebreaker will do nothing. All right, passing the turn. Fable ticks up to 2. Yeah, the possibility of Red Elemental Blast and Power Blast being able to hit any permanent. Always pretty good. Discarding a Painter's Servant to Fable of the Mirror Breakers, Chapter 2. Discarding a Lotus Petal as well. So, all right, so drawing 2 cards now. Dump some stuff we don't need. Fable of the Mirror Breaker continues to be such a good card.
I don't know why it took so long to take a look at that card.
Yeah.
With Welder and Goblin Engineer available, it'll be a little bit hard for Kaplan to do a whole lot about artifacts. Looks like 2 cards in hand. Pass the turn. Okay, no attacks, just passing the turn. Back to Ed. Fable of the Mirror Breaker will become Reflections of Kiki-Jiki. Taking it all the way out of the sleeve, placing it on top of the empty sleeve technique being used here. Very interesting. Another Goblin Engineer. This could put something nasty in the yard. What are we looking for this time? Kaz Defiler has been exiled. Got Fairy Macabre early on in this game. Grindstone. Could be trouble.
Don't play the Void Walker.
I think it'd be such a hilarious thing if it was like a sketch where it's like.
I was saying don't play the Void Walker today.
I think you're
You're not in a position to play
I'll take the Goblin Shaman, create a treasure.
Okay, the line breaker will attack the Goblin Shaman. That attack just to make a treasure, it looks like. Pass the turn. Opening up some extra mana for plays on the following turn. Grindstone in the graveyard. There is also a Painter's Servant in the graveyard. A Painter's Servant in play. Triple Goblin Engineer and a Welder. Ensnaring Bridge on the board, shutting off attacks for Kaplan. This game looks pretty good for Ed, game 2.
And Grindstone.
End step, Welder activated, swapping Treasure and Grindstone. Grindstone is on the board.
Before you untap. Dismember.
Okay, before also still on Kaplan's end step, we're going to see a Dismember on Painter's Servant. Goblin Engineer getting activated. Another Pharaoh Macabre could be pretty good here. Nope, hold on.
And for the death right, does a black on that turn. So
Sacking Ensnaring Bridge. Painter's Servant coming back. Okay, that is the scoop. Going to game 3. Kaplan making Ed demonstrate an understanding of how to combo there. Moving on to game 3. Kaplan will be on the play. We saw Eldrazi deliver a quick beating in game 1. Kaplan will try to do that again, I guess.
nobody showed up, right? So in the final,
Adam pointing out should have engineered in response to Dismember to get around Fairy. Yeah, could have swapped Painter Servant for Painter Servant, right? And, yeah, I guess that wouldn't get around Fairy. Okay. Secluded Courtyard. Grafdigger's Cage.
Creatures can't enter from the
Graveyards or libraries, and spells can't be cast in graveyards.
Maybe a couple of
I'm just gonna look up the one.
Oh yeah,
I was playing 4 hero, 4 Mirror Crusader. I was playing the
There's Eldrazi Mimic once again. Goblin Welder is on the board on Ed's side. Goblin Welder, one of the nasty creatures in the Painter deck. Okay, looked like Ed was looking up the Oracle text for Grafdigger's Cage. I don't believe Kaplan's copy is in English. Looks like Korean.
also playing small parts, which like right now it's no.
Welder trying to bring in creatures from the graveyard would be shut off from Grafdigger's Cage. All right, Thought-Knot Seer comes in, trigger the Mimic. Thought-Knot Seer's ability.
I wanted you to get
I know exactly who Rob
Okay, gonna bolt the Eldrazi Mimic in response. It will die. Thought-Knot Seer's ability will now resolve. Let's see the hand. A Braid, Basic Mountain, Fable of the Mirror Breaker ×2, and Goblin Engineer. Dave Kaplan wearing Yankee hat. Oh, God.
I'll play open.
This is a series of really bad rips, followed by a series of really good. Try to add one. Yeah, it's like.
Take it off.
I don't think you're fucking with me. I think it was
Okay, one copy of Fable of the Mirror Breaker has been taken by Thought-Knot Seer. So the hand will stay face up here.
something you have to see. But I think you have to file.
Yeah, remember that jump hand?
Well, yeah. You can't take too many beats.
So he's playing against that.
Fable of the Mirror Breaker comes in. People shouting out their favorite baseball teams in the chat. Go Sox, but we don't know if we're talking about red or white. Giants, Phils, yeah.
But now it's like just right. Opponent ends up conceding.
There are other lines.
He's like, he wasn't like when I passed turn, I knew that I was sick. There was nothing like Boros record. Like he had to attack. And so I face as long as I can deal with what was on board.
Yeah, Adam making a point that the cage doesn't completely shut off Welder. All right, Chalice on 2. We know that there's an Abrade and Goblin Engineer in hand, so that was pretty good. Chalice on 2. Pretty nasty. But yeah, if you activate Welder targeting a creature in the graveyard, you'll still sacrifice the creature, the artifact that's in play, and then the creature won't enter from the yard. It's kind of a weird thing. Non-creature artifacts are not really affected by Grafdigger's Cage. Roberts, thank you for the resub. 26 months. Yo, 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 yo.
I don't think that's the way.
Yo.
I double this matchup, but not very much yet. Because you look at 4 cards, those are your
So I have an opponent playing just
Okay, discarding Goblin Engineer and a basic mountain to draw 2. Abrade is the only known card in hand by Kaplan right now. And it's currently shut off by a Chalice on 2. Urza's Saga, not too bad. Fable of the Mirror Breaker on its 2nd chapter. Next turn could become Reflections of Kiki-Jiki. Attacking with the Goblin Shaman, making a treasure. Thought-Knot Seer, 4 power, pretty good clock. But if Ed can start making some constructs, could be a problem for Kaplan. Kaplan does have a Wasteland right now, though. Gonna fire it off. Kind of had no choice but to disable that Urza Saga. Tanking with Thought-Knot Seer, no blocks. That is the, oh man, I keep forgetting the name of this card.
Maybe I should have taken removal, but I don't really know whether that's
Yeah, I think they close
Thank you, Just a Pig. It was like on the tip of my tongue. I'm like, what was it called again? Glaring Flesh Raker. I kept thinking Mind Breaker. That's wrong. They got to stop making Eldrazi. I can't memorize them all. So Blood Moon has hit. This could get interesting now. Blood Moon makes it very difficult to make colorless mana. In the casting cost of stuff like the Flesh Raker and Thought-Knot Seer, there's a colorless mana pip. Can't make that with a basic with a basic or non-basic mountain. So it'll be difficult to cast more Eldrazi right now. Bob with a big question: is it legal to play this many new cards in Legacy? Yeah, yeah. Some Legacy players can't handle too many new cards. They want to go back to 2011 and stay there. And maybe they should, right?
Did
you get there?
Nope, got chain of squad.
And I'm like,
Classic.
with blood rage. So blood rage.
All right, Goblin Welder. That'll resolve.
How does this
Yeah,
work?
the technical favor of the guy playing swords gonna have a better time than the guy not.
Trying to get sneaky here. Goblin Engineer countered by Chalice on 2. Ed, you got to work on sneaking those in.
How much life does this one's 2 or 8 or 6 or 8?
Kaplan known to Chalice check people. Didn't fall for it here.
Dark Combat is hard. This
Dismember on Reflections of Kiki-Jiki.
The beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. They banned it, and
Yeah, every once in a while, if you like wander around the Legacy community long enough, like I have, you just run into these like NPCs that just come out with stuff like, "Do we really need another commander set?" They can't be helped at this point. It's over. All right, Thought Not Seer will die. Ed will draw a card. All right, Gravedigger's Cage. That'll trigger the. All right, a neat way to trigger the Flesh Raker with a colorless spell. Make an Eldrazi spawn. The Eldrazi spawn can sack for a colorless, so maybe turning on some plays here, despite Blood Moon. Blood Moon, pretty good against these Eldrazi decks. All right, Magus of the Moon. The token on Ed's side is a treasure.
Final Fortune into that double one. Yeah, I'm thinking that's
So two moons on the battlefield for Ed. One of them a creature, one of them not. It's unlikely that Kaplan will be able to break out of a moon here. But Eldrazi spawns could help. Dismember on Magus of the Moon, okay.
1 minute
Making progress, I guess. Attacking with a Flesh Raker. Ed down to 5. Chalice on 2, shutting off that Braid. Lotus Petal, trigger the Flesh Raker. The pings. The pings will get you, folks. Down to 2, almost out of time. The Eldrazi spawns can make colorless mana, which is scary. Past its turn, a Braid on end step. It's going to get countered. Chalice check. Might as well. That is the match. Kaplan gets it. Chalice on 2. It looks like won the game. GG's. Good match. Good match. Fought through the Blood Moons.